Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome to the first edition of Rocktober. And as you saw from the title, we are kicking off the month of Rocktober, where we will be listening to different rock albums throughout the month of October, of course, with, of course, The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Now, before we get started, I want to say that despite the fact that I own a copy of this both on vinyl and CD over here, I've never actually listened to this record in full, and I've never actually listened, I would think, to any of these songs in full. I've heard snippets of the songs on various platforms. Obviously, it's quite popular on TikTok nowadays, but what isn't? And I've heard it, obviously, in various different art forms, such as films and shows and whatnot. However, even though this is one of the most celebrated, most, critically acclaimed albums ever created, I have never actually listened to it, which is pretty mind-blowing considering I have listened to thousands of albums in my lifetime, and I have also listened to more rock albums than any other genre. It just happens to be, for some reason, this one managed to escape me. Another thing I want to say before we really jump into it is, despite the fact that I've not heard this album, I have listened to Pink Floyd's The Wall, which I actually did a review for a few years back on my channel, and I do really love this album. I think it's a fantastic listen. So I'm not completely avoidant of Pink Floyd. I have heard The Wall, which is a fantastic must-listen-to rock record, I would say. But again, other than The Wall, Pink Floyd has managed to just be one of those blind spots in my musical journey. So, kicking it off, Dark Side of the Moon, one of the most classic albums of all time. Speak to me. Let's go. Again, this is just a first listen, so take what I say at face value. I won't know all the culturally important elements of this on a first listen, necessarily. I like the heartbeat and the ticking here. Sanity, common theme in Pink Floyd, from what I gather. Makes sense given their first frontman, Syd Barrett, losing his sanity. Let's go right into Breathe in the Air. Ooh. Signature kind of like psychedelic sound right off the bat, like hazy guitars. I love the twang of that guitar there. Nice drawn out kind of crooning. See, I've definitely heard that part in specific.
Don't be afraid to tears you'll cry. All you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be.
Ooh.
Rabbit, run.
I like that organ there in the background, kind of just cycling about.
Balanced on the biggest wave. Race towards another grave.
Ooh. I do love their transitions or segues from track to track. Something that Pink Floyd, I think, mastered. In a time of a lot of musicians doing the long fade outs, they opted out. Instead took on form of the segues, the transitions, which is, to me, and to I think most people, far more pleasing to the ear. Ooh, I like this Oh my goodness, the synth. Rapid. Seems like we're on the move here. Literally with these... I like hearing those runs, you know? Kind of running out of time, it would seem. Aren't we all? Oh. I love that choppy synth there. It felt like a helicopter. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. I didn't expect this. Didn't think synths played a key role or anything on this LP. Ooh. Very alien in its sound. Especially for that time, oh my goodness. Coming out in the early 70s. This is such a psychedelic and trippy synth fest, you know, like just... I love how rapid, too, that percussion is. An explosion. All coming to a halt. Maybe some form of the apocalypse. Do like this clock theme. Oh, going right to time. Now this one I've heard bits and pieces of for sure. I feel like it is one of the most popular tracks on the LP. Oh. Quite a jarring intro there. I like that heartbeat too. That's what it would seem. Still there from the beginning. Very atmospheric and a lot more spacey and sort of, you know, less claustrophobic than I would have expected going into this record. Being a prog rock record, I expected a lot more noise. But I do love when they develop slowly like this. That heartbeat there is still just kind of laying the foundation, like a tempo. What a beautiful, unified moment there. I do love David Gilmour's vocals too. Just very strong, you know, very powerful and very commanding, I would say, of your attention too. But it can also be very soft, just like this. Oh. Love those oohs. Running out of time, it would seem. Incredible guitar solos here from Mr. Roger Waters, I believe. Could be Gilmore. I think it's Gilmore, actually. My bad. Very like acid-drenched sort of sound. Oh. I love those female vocals coming in here. It's very angelic. Oh. Getting a little meta there at the end. Kind of like a track about time and the anxiety that comes with it. Something that I feel like most individuals struggle with. I certainly do. Let's go into the other track here. The next one, very infamous track playing up next. The Great Gig in the Sky. Now, of course, this one. Like I said, I've heard snippets, and I know the ethereal calls in this one. I don't know the rest. That piano work is beautiful too. I've never noticed that. Shout out Richard Wright. I feel like he's not often talked about with Nick Mason, Roger Waters, and David Gilmour. At least in the circles I've seen.
And I am not frightened of dying. Any time will do, I don't mind. Why should I be frightened of dying? There's no reason for it. You gotta go sometime.
Ain't that the truth? Confronting death, it would seem, on this LP. Oh, here it is. Oh. Such a beautiful ascent here. And those howls. Oh my goodness. I didn't know they went on this long. Not sure who it is here vocally, but they are so smooth with it. Oh. That's not Gilmour, is it? If it is, kudos. Sounds like a woman, though. I thought it was a woman, but I could be wrong. Feels like you're really just like put into an ethereal plane, you know? Another dimension with that climax of the track. Or like you're seeing the entire universe for what it is. Even though there's like so much going on in terms of these large, massive, swelling peaks, this album is surprisingly kind of minimalist, I would say. Like, this is a almost 5-minute track, and it's pretty minimal in what it offers. It just offers it in such a overwhelming strength. I really like that. Almost like a maximized minimalism to it. incredible. We're already halfway through. Let's get into Money, which again, 520 million streams. I've heard elements of this one. Again, don't know if I've ever really paid full attention to it in full. But I've always liked the intro. I've always heard this. All the way kind of throws you around with its effects. Ooh. Love the choppy effect on that guitar. I also really like the slowness of this one. It's like almost like a slow trotting. Love that comes in and out. Maybe talking about the evil nature of money, like the capitalist mindset. Oh, is that a saxophone? Dick Perry. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just want to shout out, it was Claire Torrey on the last track. Incredible vocalist. She does a great job. But back to Dick Perry. I love even his like kind of choppiness in the same way that guitar was earlier. A very high-pitched kind of delivery with the sax. Oh! I have never ever heard this part. This part is kind of bluesy, I would say. Really kind of has that small town bar blues-esque tone. Really good chemistry kind of coming together. I like our bass here too. That descent. Really carries on the groove. Truly is. Still relevant. Definitely a dig and a commentary at the government, it would seem. Something that Pink Floyd never shied away from was tackling politics and the government. Ooh, segueing right into Us and Them. Money, a fantastic classic. But who needs me to say that? Bringing things down to a much more somber tone with his organ. And that's Richard Wright. I believe that's the Hammond organ, if I'm not mistaken. But it could be. I like the slower nature we're taking on this one. No surprise, production is as clean and as crisp as ever. It's super well mixed. Certain instruments feel like they're kind of faded out, little pushed to the background. And I love the wavery kind of effect on everything. Got the return of Dick Perry on the sax. It's like a sense of eeriness to this track, as like beautiful and gentle as it is. Oh. Oh. Okay. Such a clashing instrumental. Maybe the loudest the album's gotten, up against the softest we've ever heard it. And right back to the serene, sweet instrumentation. I love that contrast. I like the good blend of genres we're getting too on this LP. More, genres being incorporated than I would have expected, such as kind of blues and jazz. Oh, and right back into it. Such a drop. Not sure what this track or LP is about. But I believe it's a overall sort of critique of the government. I always love a good sax solo in a rock song. Bowie did it quite a bit. It's like that jazz and kind of rock fusion that feels so natural. Oh. The sax coming with us now. Oh, I love it. Oh, spinning out of control. Ooh, that's a great track too. I love the... Sorry, let's pause for a second. I love the contrast of those gentler and much more bombastic kind of in-your-face instrumentals. And I also really loved how it took the sax with us in that last passage there. Let's go into Any Color You Like. Keep it going. Which, an instrumental track, it would seem. Certainly no complaints there. Especially if we're bringing these synths back. I love a good synth and I love some prog. Love that kind of like almost like zippery kind of tone. Oh. Oh my goodness. Strumming out. Like a tug and pull. Oh my goodness. I love the back and forth. A little chitter chatter here. It's very such a tight album performance-wise. Everything's sort of bouncing off one another. I love this track. Super, just like, again, psychedelic, ethereal, very spacey. And I love the tightness of the performances overall. What a great instrumental. Let's go into Brain Damage here, which I think the vocals here are led by none other than Roger Waters and not Gilmore this time around.
The lunatic
I feel like his accent comes out a lot more than Gilmore's.
The lunatics.
Oh,
The dam breaks open many years too soon. And if there is no room upon the hill,
this is beautiful. And
and if your head explodes without the bones too.
can't but feel like the backing vocals, the very harmonized sounds of those ahs and those oohs, would not exist without the foundation that the Beatles led like a decade prior. I feel like it's a very noticeable influence on the record here. Oh, there's the title drop too.
You make the change. You rearrange me till I'm sane.
Kind of like a brutal,
You lock the door,
maybe look at the way
throw away the key.
doctors or the government
Someone
gets into one's mind.
head, but it's not me.
Again, could be another kind of look or element looking at Syd Barrett here.
And if the cloud bursts, it seems to hear.
Oh,
And if the
is that Claire coming back there?
starts playing different tunes, I'll see you
That's gotta be Claire.
outside of the moon.
Oh. Oh, and we're back with the synths. Such a coldness to them. Lots of ideas lyrically that I think I'll touch upon quickly at the end. But let's play into Eclipse here to close it out. This organ. Richard Wright. Belting it out. Take us to church here.
And all that you see day, and all that you eat, and everyone you meet,
Oh, this is such a
and all that you slight,
kind of finale tone to it.
when you fight,
Everything coming together here.
and all that is now, as soon as eclipsed by the moon.
Such a grand, swelling finale there. We're back to that heartbeat. What does that mean? Shocked that that has 90 million considering it's the lowest of the streams of the album. I feel like it's necessary and the kind of grandness of the album considering it's such a peak, such a finale in tone. But that does it for Dark Side of the Moon. My first time ever listening to that, and I gotta say, incredibly climactic sort of LP. And only 42 minutes, and it feels so grand in its vision. It's easy to see why it's so influential and so famous and so critically acclaimed. I mean, it's, again, tackling so many ideas at once. It would seem tackling ideas of the concept of time, capitalism, the government, losing one's sanity. I think even touching on the workforce and how you have to be, it would seem, a slave to it by orders of the government. I think it's a very anti-government album from what I'm gathering, just on the first listen. But I think what caught me off guard the most was that despite the fact that it has such a swelling and overpowering sort of climactic approach at times, it's also very minimalist and kind of sparse in its arrangements. I really like that it plays with the arrangements by having these slow building moments that are much quieter in tune before we explode onto the scene. One would say that maybe this is like an early tease of what post-rock would go to be in the 90s with something like Slint, with their quieter moments that explode onto the scene. I really like that. I like the kind of, I would say, maximalist, minimalist approach that it takes. Or would it be minimalist, maximalist? I'm not too sure which way you'd look at it. But either way, I really like that it plays with the quiet moments, stretches them out, and really takes its time with it. Because those moments that are so quiet feel like they give so much in their sparse arrangements. Before, of course, you get to the very obvious, in-your-face explosion of instrumentals. I didn't expect synths at all going into this, to be quite honest. And it feels like they play such a key role on here, and I really like them, such as on the Run, or in those last couple of tracks there. Really plays a key kind of role in the coldness and the grandiosity of the sound of the album, and the very introspectiveness that comes with it. Dark Side of the Moon, obviously a must listen. Am I saying anything that hasn't been said? I don't think so. I'm not saying anything too revealing, I would say, about the album either. This is a first listen, and this album has been written about to death, so there's like entire books written about it at this point. But it is a great LP. I am glad I listened to it. It was kind of shocking to me, at least personally, what it had to offer, because I didn't expect, again, those synth works or the sort of minimalist approach that came with it. And I that's what I think I'm taking away the most from it, and what I enjoyed the most, because it simply just caught me off guard from my expectations. But that does it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and follow along with Rocktober, where we will be listening to different rock albums throughout the month of October. And our next video has already been requested by some in the comments before we started Rocktober, and it is something I was already planning on doing going into the month of Rocktober. That, of course, will be King Crimson's album, not In the Court of the Crimson King, because I'm a huge fan of that album already. I do love that one. But it is their album, Red, which I have been wanting to listen to for quite a long time, and I thought we'd check it out on the channel together. So next video in the Rocktober series will be Red by King Crimson. As always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.